Oh, goody.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Zombies here again, and today we're back with another Marvel Snap video. So, a little bit of a news update here on leagues. Apparently there is another exploit, much like last time. However, unlike last time, this does not seem to be an exploit that the vast majority of the player base will be able to engage with, fortunately, or maybe unfortunately, depending how you're looking at it. But there is an exploit in leagues. The exploit seems to be that for players who haven't updated their game yet, if they're on the old patch and haven't downloaded the new one, then they are able to go into a friendly battle and get league points that way. Which is a shame, because it's essentially the same exact thing as before, where people can just win trade and whatnot. There is a little bit more of a barrier to entry, right? Because you do need a friend, and the bigger barrier there is you need to have people on the same patch, and a lot of people updated their game, so this isn't likely going to be something that affects most leagues. I have already seen messages and images from people who have been affected by it, seeing some people with over 20,000 points in their league already, which is frankly pretty absurd. So that is unfortunate, and I really do hope those individuals receive some kind of compensation or something, because it really sucks to get cheated out of that. But I would not get your hopes up on mass compensation like last time, because this is a much more isolated issue. Also, related to compensation, I definitely suggest, I've seen a few people saying that they didn't seem to receive the compensation from last leagues. I definitely recommend reaching out to support to at least get that logged somewhere. I don't know if that's going to work or not. Unfortunately, secondary support has been notoriously not that great in terms of customer service, but I think it can't hurt to do it. So that way, if they do realize that, oh, hey, there is a decent part of the population that didn't get the proper compensation from last league, they can get it out to you. There'll at least be something on record that you're one of these affected users. I have no idea how many people are affected by this. It seemed to be pretty small numbers. I've only seen a handful of people talking about it. But yeah, if you're someone who falls into that group, I would recommend reaching out to customer service so you can hopefully get that proper compensation. And I do think this sparks a bit of a discussion where it's like, yeah, maybe they should really push the update for their game faster. I think there was even a Ask the Team answer where they're like, well, we don't force updates quite as quickly because we feel like we don't have to, which is kind of a weird reason. And as we're seeing here, it is enabling some exploits. Pretty much every other card game in the genre does kind of do the opposite, where as soon as that new update is available, they push it pretty quickly. So I really don't think there's any downside to them doing something like that. And then to round it out here, I did want to just give some thoughts on how leagues have been going and some tips if you're looking to maximize your points. So I've had a pretty good time in my league. I joined late. I employed the strategy I talked about in the other video, going over the pro tips for the Jeff League. And in general, I think it did all right. I did get a few other people who are grinding it out. We can see here, me and the other people in the top 3 are fairly ahead of the rest of the pack by like at least 1,000 or more points. So I think it is not going to be that hard to finish in the top 3, even if I don't play a whole ton more. But in general, what I've learned in gaining points and playing a bunch during the league is it kind of changes how you want to prioritize things, in my opinion. Normally in Snap, kind of the mantra of the game is it doesn't really matter if you're not winning quite as much, as long as you're getting those bigger cube wins and minimizing your cube losses. That's generally a very successful approach to ladder that works for many people. And I think for leagues, you kind of want to do the opposite. Now, that's not to say like gaining big cubes isn't a good thing. It does help you. But in terms of sheer volume of games, if you can just win as much or more than you're losing, you will be quite ahead on points, as long as you're not just losing massive like 4 and 8 cubers all over the place. You can just really gain a whole lot of points with a little bit over 50% win rate, as long as your losses are a bit smaller. You don't even need massive gains. If you do get big gains of a 4 or 8 cubes or whatever, that's good. It gets you more points, but you can really get a whole lot of points just getting 1 or 2 cubers. And that is all because of how the point system works. It really just incentivizes winning much more than how many cubes you're winning. The bonus cubes are nice, but if getting less cubes per game results in a greater volume of games where you're winning games, you're just making out on a lot more points. So that's probably my biggest tip for leagues is just focus on getting as many wins as possible rather than trying to get the maximum amount of cubes per win. But you do still want to minimize those cube losses, making sure that you are not losing a whole ton of cubes every game. It's all right to lose like a 4 or an 8 here or there, but make sure you're not doing that all the time if you're only getting smaller cube victories. And then in terms of the decks that I've found success with, basically I've just been playing a whole ton of 2 of the decks I listed in the other video, being the Anti-Arsham Darkhawk as well as Wiccan Loki. Those decks have been very, very good for me in this event, and I would recommend playing them if you have the cards. I'll leave a link in the description below if you didn't check that out and you want to get a hold of some of the decks. But yeah, that's going to wrap it up for this one. Just quick little video, wanted to get the information out there about what's going on with this exploit. It's not something most people are going to be able to do, but I hope that the people who are impacted by it maybe get some form of compensation, because it kind of sucks if you happen to get in a league with one of the handful of people that can take advantage of this exploit. And I really hope we see some bigger overhaul to leagues in the future. I think there are a lot of flaws with this kind of concept in general. Like, I think it could be something that's cool, but there are clearly a lot of flaws in the system that I think need to be further refined, especially before they start charging people $5 for a paid version of the league rewards. That's going to wrap it up for this one, though. Let me know what you think and how leagues have been going for you in the comments below, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.